Hi, I'm Aaron Shaw, aka Swagshaw.
And I'm Adam Shin Udell, also known as Fartfish.
This January 2024, we host the Boss Rush Jam, a month-long sprint to create a Boss Rush game around the Jam's theme Exchange. We had an incredible turnout with over 3,500 joins and over 400 entries. We literally more than tripled in all the ways that mattered this year. We genuinely cannot express just how much this means to us and how amazed we are with just how far the Boss Rush Jam has come. Thank you all so much for participating, enriching the community, and most importantly, giving us a bunch of incredible games to play. With that, we want to welcome you to the winner announcement for the 2024 Boss Rush Jam. We'll be covering the winners for the sponsor prizes and the top place awards. With this year's amazing turnout, I cannot stress just how difficult it was to pick the winners for this jam. You guys seriously made some fantastic games that blew us away. That said, it's time to get to the Boss Rush Jam's first ever winner announcement video. With limited prizes, not every game can win an award. So naturally, we just made more prizes. Y'all made some absolutely insane games, and we want to award as many of them as possible. In this section, we'll go over some honorable mentions that didn't make it to the top 3, but we still wanted to highlight just how awesome these entries were. Lots of games were all about health. From exchanging your health for ammo, to exchanging your health for upgrades, you all found a lot of ways for the player to make a new use out of an existing resource. But there was one game we wanted to spotlight for its unique approach to this exchange. Sweet Hell is a game where losing health causes you to deal more damage, featuring a plethora of difficult boss battles and perfectly capturing the feeling of retro game difficulty back in the day. Sweet Hell throws you into the role of a little goblin who really hates bridge trolls. This game is dense, with a whopping 8 boss fights, each harder and more tediously fun than the last, and the whole thing being made with the same limitations as the MXX console has earned it the spot of our first honorable mention and $100. One popular interpretation on the theme was interpreting exchange as a monetary exchange and incorporating that thematically or mechanically into the game. We saw lots of shops and gold and deals and coins, but the game that really blew us away was Dot Plant, a tower defense game where you buy seeds and plant them around the arena in order to attack the bosses. With some great art reminiscent of the hit indie classic Cave Story, you get seeds to grow flowers to shoot at the boss, and they get sprinklers to heal those flowers, and then you get shields to protect the flowers, and they get more flowers and more sprinklers, and then you fight the moon. There's just a lot to love about this game, earning it our second honorable mention and $100. Another really great interpretation on the theme was an exchanging of abilities. And this went in a lot of different directions, mainly from exchanging in combat to out of combat. But one game that really takes the cake is Catalyst, a game where you have to get rid of at least one of your upgrades after every boss fight and exchange it for another. Each ability is a card that has its own value that allows you to sacrifice to get more expensive cards, creating a clever twist that gives the player a lot to think about after each round. During this gauntlet, you fight against 4 elementals: fire, water, earth, and wind, and fighting them feels really like you're fighting their element. This game is super juicy and feels amazing to play as a boss rush, earning it the last honorable mention and $100.
Every prize had to get money from somewhere, and while we've put in a pretty penny from our own pockets, none of this would have been possible without our amazing sponsors. We really want to highlight the incredible people who gave us a helping hand this year, as well as show you guys the awesome games that won their prizes. The Cards You're Dealt is a game that really knocked our socks off when we played it. It's a game where players, that's right, multiple players online, I'm not even hyping this up just because we're sponsored by Playroom, I genuinely think it's crazy they managed to make a multiplayer boss rush this good in just a month. Where was I? Right! Players can exchange upgrades and abilities with each other, creatively using Playroom along with the Jam's theme. Not only that, but this game is juicy with a capital J, and it's got incredible art and music, and it completely blew our minds in terms of overall polish, earning the Best Use of Theme with Playroom Award and $300. Fish and Chip is a game where you can exchange places with your turret, creating fast-paced platforming and a necessity for area management against a mechanical fishbowl with arms. The dev used PlusMusic to create a dynamic soundtrack that reacts to the game, but they didn't just use PlusMusic. They actively worked and communicated with the PlusMusic team during the jam to help the plugin work with a newer version of Unity, earning the Best Use of PlusMusic Award and $100. RadiX is a game where you can get upgrades that, in exchange, also have downsides, and it has an incredible soundtrack of 14 songs that you can hear right now. Multiple songs enrapture the player and fit the mood of any given moment perfectly. Earning PlusMusic's Best Overall Soundtrack Award and $100, I'll let the game's music speak for itself. Bloodpunk is a game where hell is full and blood is fuel. Wait, nope, sorry, that's not right. Bloodpunk is a game where blood is ammo and holy shit, are we fighting the moon again? Bloodpunk has some absolutely incredibly well done and stylized visuals that awed and wowed us judges, and its gory art direction perfectly fit the Jam's theme of exchange, earning Cartoon Coffee's Best Overall Art Direction Award and $100. Jet Fueled Jeremy is... Oh my god, that was insane. Did you see that? That was crazy. Was that crazy? That was crazy. Jet Fueled Jeremy is a game where you play as a familiar face, as Jeremy makes a return from last year's Jam winner to take on some outright titanic enemies, while exchanging the risk of getting close in order to heal up and fire titanic anime lasers. The devs went absolutely insane on the visual effects, earning Cartoon Coffee's Best Use of VFX Award and $100.
Alright, we know what you want to find out. We know what you've been looking forward to. And we know at this point we don't need to keep adding to the suspense. It's time for the main prizes.
We were blown away by lots of games, and a large portion of them had you exchanging weapons and abilities with bosses, and lots of them did a really great job. It was amazing to see just how many games were able to take this idea in so many different directions. But coming in third place, winning $250, the game that wowed us the most was... Fool of the Trade. Fool of the Trade is a game where you can throw your weapon at someone and just take their weapon away from them. You have a sword? No, you don't. It's mine now. This game has a lot of depth. There's so many weapons, and the ability to upgrade them to free up slots for even more weapons creates a whole new dimension of choice. This game already feels like a complete roguelike with its depth. With a little more time and a dash of elbow grease, I could easily see this game making its way onto Steam. Wowing us with an incredibly creative use of the theme, this game was a must-have for top 3.
While many games looked at shops as a form of exchange, some devs found space itself as a resource that could be exchanged. So barreling into second place, winning $500, the game that squeezed our eyes out of their sockets was... Boom Bayou. Boom Bayou is a first-person shooter where you're a crawfish with a customizable inventory of weapons and lots of wacky items that take up lots of space. The game is filled with so much stuff that at times it's hard to choose what to take with you and what to leave behind, and each and every one of your choices matters. It takes its well-balanced agency of choice even further when it allows you to choose which boss to fight, and bosses are super unique and well-designed too. Each one felt like a totally new challenge that I was eager to throw myself at, accompanied by a perfectly fitting banjo-filled soundtrack and stylized art that fits the tone of the game extremely well. If the devs decide to continue this project or others, I really can't wait to see where they take it. I found myself constantly coming back to this game, trying out new builds, and had an absolute blast, making this game a perfect fit for second place.
There were lots of games that interpreted the theme as gaining something in exchange for a potential downside. There were also lots of games that interpreted the theme as sacrificial, leaning into gory and eldritch themes. There were even games that took health into consideration and involved it in the main mechanic. But there was one game that blew us away like no other, blowing the competition away and fighting tooth and nail for first place, winning a towering $750. The game that stole our hearts and maybe a little bit of our blood along the way was... Icarus! Icarus is a game where the walls are painted red with the blood of a warlock's enemies, only to be used as a healing resource for the very warrior who spilled it. After cleansing the filth in the dungeons, you are greeted by the Patron, who provides you with 3 potential upgrades, each having a drawback that becomes more and more prevalent as you absorb the blood of those who dare stand in your way. This game really blew us all away. I really hope to see this game taken further, and if it is, I'll be waiting in suspense to see where it goes. Its genuinely astonishing art, music, and gameplay made it an absolute blast to play, and it had perhaps some of the most fun bosses to fight against in the whole jam, making it the strongest contender for first place.
Thank you all for jamming. That concludes the winner announcements for the 2024 Boss Rush Jam, but don't leave just yet. There's important news about the merchandise shop.
We're closing the shop in 2 weeks. So visit it and say your farewells, because after 2 weeks' time, you'll be missing out on our catalog of glorious Boss Rush merch, where all the proceeds go to next year's Jam prizes. We've got a bunch of items and international shipping, but it'll be gone so soon. Show the world you've earned true glory by participating in the 2024 Boss Rush Jam.
Okay, but seriously, quick side note. We hope you all had as much of a blast jamming as we did hosting, because we really did have an incredible time hosting this jam. The Discord has become such a great community, and the jam itself rich with networking opportunities for everyone. With a jam this epic, we hope to see you and the bosses you'll make next year.